There's a machine. It's huge, it's invisible, and it hums just beneath the surface of our everyday lives. It doesn't run on steam or electricity. Nope. It runs on our choices, our hopes, and yeah, our anxieties. It quietly governs what we buy, where we live, how we even think about the future. And for millions of us, that machine, it's starting to sputter and break down. So let's take a closer look at how it works, and more importantly, why it's failing so many. It always starts quietly, doesn't it? Not with some big explosion, but with a piece of paper. Maybe it arrives on a Tuesday, wedged between junk mail and a pizza flyer. You notice it though. It feels heavier than the rest. You might even let it sit on the counter for a day or two. But you know it's there. And when you finally open it, your whole world just narrows down to a few words printed in this stark, unforgiving ink. It's a message from a part of the financial world you hoped you'd never have to deal with. The language is so cold, so official, so final. It's not the start of a conversation, it's the end of one. And then you see the number. A figure that isn't just money anymore. It's months of worry. It's sleepless nights. It's that slow, grinding pressure of knowing you're falling behind. It feels impossible, like some kind of massive personal failure. But is it really? Well, take a look at this. This is where that personal crisis becomes a national condition. That feeling of drowning in debt, it's not some isolated incident. It's practically a defining feature of our time. These numbers show a clear, relentless climb over decades. So no, this isn't just about one person's bad luck. This is a pattern. To understand why this is happening, we have to look past the individual decisions and see the system we're all operating in. This isn't about a lack of willpower. It's about trying to navigate this incredibly complex architecture, one that's been built up over generations that shapes our financial lives in ways we don't even see. Let's just give it a name. Let's call it the budgeting machine. It's the whole ecosystem, right? The easy credit, the nonstop advertising, the wages that don't keep up, the safety nets that have all but disappeared. This machine is always running, constantly pushing us towards certain behaviors and pulling us away from others. And look, this machine wasn't built overnight. It was assembled piece by piece. Back in the 50s, the credit card came along and introduced this whole new world of easy debt. Then, by the 80s, the guarantee of a pension started to evaporate, shifting the entire burden of retirement onto your shoulders. The 2000s, well, that's when getting an education turned into a massive death sentence. And today we have sophisticated algorithms nudging us to spend money with a single click. Every single one of these steps changed the rules of the game. So when we talk about common budgeting mistakes, what if we're using completely the wrong language? What if they aren't personal mistakes at all? What if they're actually specific points of failure that were designed into the machine itself? Let's break these 7 points down. First, you've got the psychological traps. There's the visibility gap, right? Tap to pay makes spending feel like nothing. And the impulse loop, driven by ads that know exactly what you want before you do. Then you've got the huge structural problems. The safety net void where pensions used to be, and the debt engine, which makes it normal to borrow for just about everything. On top of that, you have the slow drains. Death by 1,000 cuts from all those subscriptions, and future deferment, a culture that screams, buy now, worry later. And all of it leads to one place, the single point of failure, your job. One emergency, one layoff, and the whole thing shatters. And this right here is the absolute core of the idea. A system that profits from complexity, from impulse, and from debt isn't a broken system. It's a system that's working exactly as intended. These points of failure, they're not bugs, they're features. Okay, so a machine designed this way, it's not going to produce equal outcomes for everybody. It just can't. For every action, there's a reaction. For every dollar of debt someone takes on, there's a dollar of interest being collected somewhere else. This system, by its very nature, creates winners and losers. I mean, just look at the two sides of this coin. For the borrower, the experience is defined by stress, anxiety, the constant threat of things like wage garnishment. It's a story of closed doors and lost opportunities. But for the lender, that same debt is an asset on a balance sheet. It translates directly into interest income, value for shareholders, and frankly, enormous economic and political power. And the data? Well, the data shows exactly how this plays out. Over the last couple of decades, the net worth of the top 1% has just skyrocketed. The middle, they've seen some gains, but they're barely keeping their heads above water. But look at the bottom 20%. Their net worth has actually gone down. This machine is incredibly good at moving wealth, but it tends to move it in one direction, up. And we have to remember, this isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet. There is a profound human cost here. Chronic financial stress is linked to all sorts of terrible health outcomes. It puts an unbelievable strain on relationships. It forces people to put off huge life milestones, like buying a home or starting a family. And it fundamentally slams the door on social mobility. So, is the whole situation just hopeless? Are we all just cogs, powerless in this massive machine? Not entirely. While the system is powerful, it's not all powerful. People have found ways to fight the current, to actually carve out some stability and control for themselves. And that really reframes the whole issue, doesn't it? In an economy that is built from the ground up for consumption, choosing to save your money isn't just a smart financial move. It's an act of rebellion. You're pushing back against the machine's primary function. And this has led to some incredibly effective countermeasures. You can think of them less like budgeting tips and more like system hacks. Automating your savings, for instance, makes your goal the path of least resistance. The debt snowball method, that's just using small psychological wins to build momentum against a problem that feels impossible. Zero-based budgeting means every single dollar has a job, leaving nothing to impulse. And conscious spending is the simple act of asking why before you buy. These are real tactics for navigating a pretty hostile environment. So all of this brings us to the final calculation. On one hand, we have a machine that is explicitly designed for consumption and debt. On the other, we have individuals coming up with these clever, resilient strategies just to survive inside of it. And that leaves us with this fundamental tension, a real conflict between the person and the system. And that's the unresolved question at the very heart of all of this. If you know the game is rigged, is it better to focus all your energy on learning the rules, on becoming the best possible player in a really difficult game? Or is it better to demand a new game entirely, with a new set of rules designed for a totally different outcome? There's no easy answer, and that's something worth thinking about.